out of nowhere, insomnia kicks in. And I could not sleep. I could not sleep, and I don't know why. I didn't know why. I didn't know why I couldn't sleep. And then panic attacks start. And then I just had this fear in the pit of my stomach 24/7. And so I started Googling what causes panic attacks, what causes insomnia, what causes fear, anxiety. I started Googling everything. Everything. All the while, still, I was trying to, I was praying and asking God, like, what's happening? What's happening? And nothing would help. Every day was a constant battle, and I was so tired. I was so tired. And, you know, my husband was still being evil at this time. And while all this was happening, I never let my kids know what was happening. I just kept it all in. But they didn't know that I was in my room on my bed fighting for my life. Something was already in my ears telling me, just kill yourself. You're not going to be able to sleep, so just kill yourself. And I couldn't. Years ago, I started praying. And I still wasn't sure if God existed. I didn't... I mean, there had to be a God. I mean, I just didn't understand him. So I started praying, and I would do your typical Hail Mary and your typical Our Father, and then I would leave like a short prayer to the end, like just, and then this is whenever I would remember to pray. Like, I wouldn't pray every day. I would just say thank you for our health, but I didn't have a relationship with him, so I didn't know if he was listening. I didn't know if he was there. I didn't know how. I didn't know anything, and especially I didn't know anything about Jesus. Nothing. So I started praying, fix my marriage or remove my husband. Because there had been problems. Just like any other marriage, there had been problems, and I wanted God to change him because I was just tired of it. So in 2016, he started acting evil. Just out of nowhere, everything that I did just bothered him. And well, I've never been the type to back down, so I asked him, like, what's your problem? And he just had this evil in his eyes. And nothing I did or said, nothing would make him snap out of it. Nothing. And I tried everything. And I even told him, like, something's up with you. And he would say no. Nothing's wrong. I'm like, something's wrong there. And I know him like the back of my hand, so he would just deny everything. And like 2 weeks already had passed, and he was still acting evil. And I would confront him, like, is there somebody else? Are you talking to somebody else? And of course he would deny it. And so this one day, he got really sick. And I already have done this on Facebook, on my personal Facebook page, but I have never recorded a video before, but I just felt like I needed to tell my testimony because a lot of people go through the same symptoms as me and they don't know what to do. Okay, so he gets really, really sick. And I know this is TMI, but he was in the restroom. He had like very bad diarrhea, like bad. Very bad diarrhea. And he just felt, he said he felt drained, and he would just, that day he just laid on the couch. And he had this blank stare in his face. Like I was trying to ask him, like, what's gonna happen with our marriage? What's gonna happen? What are we gonna do? Are we just gonna get a divorce? Like, I need to know. And he would just stare at me, and it's like he was empty. He was empty, and nothing that I said would make him snap out of it. So I remember trying to get my in-laws to talk to him to see what was up with him, because he was different. He wasn't the same. So then that went on for the rest of the days. Like this started in July. And in May, I remember we were going to go out on a date night. And well, before I took my boys to my mother-in-law's, while I was in the line waiting to get food, I felt like a premonition. Like something was trying to get into my house. Like something was telling me, hurry up and get home because something's in your house. So I hurried up and got the food, and I came straight home. And I just felt uneasy, like something was in my house. So I checked every corner of the house, and nothing was here. Everything was empty. Nobody was here. So then I called my brothers and my mom to see if they were okay, and they were fine. So I just left it. But it was a premonition, like something was in my house. I even had like anxiety. And now I know that it was the Holy Spirit warning me that that something was in my house. Something was coming into my house. So then we're back in July, and we're back and forth. And he kept blaming me. He kept telling me, oh, it's you. It's you. You need to fix this. You need to fix your attitude. It's you. You're the one that wants to do this. You're the one that never wanted me. You're the one that this. You're the one that that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just get a divorce and let's get it over with. And he kept back and forth. Like he would say one thing one day, and then later on that day, he would seem like he wanted to fix things. And then he would be ugly, and then later on he would say, okay, like, let's fix things. So he was like this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I would give in, and then my pride would kick in, and I'd be like, no. And we were like that, like little kids. So then, out of nowhere, insomnia kicks in. And I could not sleep. I could not sleep, and I don't know why. I didn't know why. I didn't know why I couldn't sleep. And then panic attacks start. And then I just had this fear in the pit of my stomach 24/7. And so I started Googling what causes panic attacks, what causes insomnia, what causes fear, anxiety. I started Googling everything. Everything. All the while, still, I was trying to, I was praying and asking God, like, what's happening? What's happening? And nothing would help. So the things I was taking for the anxiety, because I didn't want to go on the medication route. I didn't want to be chained up to medication, so I Googled what causes insomnia. And one of the things that it said was to try melatonin. So I tried melatonin. I would do the sleepy time, the chamomile, warm milk, Advil and Tylenol PM, and prayer, and nothing was helping. I even went to this little store that we have here where I live. They have a little, like a religious store, and I told her, like, I feel like I'm being, like something's happening and I don't know what to do. Because the last thing I wanted was to get on medication, then my husband see that I was weak, and then that he thought that I was crazy and that he would take the kids away from me. So I went this route. I tried every natural remedy that I could get my hands on. So she told me to start a novena with the rosary. So that's what I was doing this whole time. And I tried a passion flower supplement for the anxiety, and that didn't help. I tried this, it's a powder called Calm. It has magnesium in it. It's a supplement. So it's a powder, you put it in water and then you drink, you mix it and you drink it, and it's supposed to help with anxiety. Because I looked up what could be causing everything. So then it said that insomnia is caused because you're lacking a certain nutrient in your body. So I tried that and it didn't work. My sister had came in from Phoenix, and before she came, she said she had been feeling uneasy for like the past month or so. And as soon as she saw me, she's like, so you're the one that's been having anxiety. And she's like, and I've been feeling it. So she had been taking this stuff called HTP. It's for anxiety. And I tried it and that didn't help either. Anything that I could get my hands on, nothing would help. Even my mom's Mexican teas, the Advil, nothing was helping. Nothing. I couldn't even go work out. I would run and my best friend would say, did you just run? And I told her yes. And she said, you don't even seem tired. And I told her, I don't know what's going on. I can't sleep. I can't sleep. And she would call me in the morning. And this happened several times. Or I would call her because I couldn't function. So when I would remember, I would call her and I would tell her, I don't know what's going on. I can't sleep. Nothing I try, nothing. It doesn't help. Nothing helps. And I already had stopped eating carbs at this time. And I think I already had lost like 20 pounds. 20 pounds. And I had that knot in my stomach, the fear. I would, anywhere that I was, if I was at a restaurant I would get the anxiety attack, the panic attacks. If I was at the movies, I would have to walk out and like go to the restroom and put water on my face because I could feel that the panic, like I had always had the anxiety, so I knew that the panic attacks were gonna come, and I would start to panic. I was at night, like I couldn't even sleep, and whenever I would sleep, I would have perverted dreams of me and my husband, and it was so, like, the dreams were so disgusting. And one of the times, because he was never home, or I was just distant because I was in my pride too. I was not going to beg him. I wasn't going to beg him to be with me, because if he wanted out, then why was he trying to fix things? So one of the times he said he was going out of town for work, and before he left that night, he hugged me, and I could just feel the evilness coming from him, but I still didn't know what it was. So then he hugs me, and there's certain things that happened to me when I was a little girl that I've never talked about, and I don't like to talk about it because I never let it define me. I never let it define me, so I just blocked it out. But at the time, whenever he hugged me, all those feelings of when I was a little girl came, and I could just feel the evilness. And one of the times that I did finally get sleep, because, you know, after so many days of sleeping, I couldn't sleep, so my body was just so tired that I would just finally knock out for, even if it was just for a few minutes, it seemed like. I had a dream of this doctor's office. And the doctor's office, we went to go sign divorce papers. And I could see the office, and I could see that it had wooden shingles on the roof. And I could see the parking lot on it, or in my dream. And I'll tell you what this was later on. So this had been going on, and one of the times that I went to church, God knew that I went with a heavy heart because I didn't know what was going on. And while we were in church, whenever the church was praying or in prayer, when everybody was praying, it slowly faded. The prayers faded into this choir of angels singing, and it was loud, like it sounded like it was right here. It sounded like it was super loud. I can't even explain it. It sounded so beautiful. So beautiful. I'm thinking of it now, and it's the most beautiful thing I have ever heard. Beautiful. All the angels were in a choir singing, and in tone, the most beautiful sound, the most beautiful song I have ever heard. It was beautiful. And then it slowly faded out. And then I could hear the prayers again, or the sounds around me. And then I felt my head get really hot, and then the tears just started flowing from my eyes. And I was just like, what was that? So at that time, I didn't know it then, but God showed up to show me that He was going to be with me because things were going to get worse. And I still didn't know who Jesus was. So every day was a constant battle, and I was so tired. I was so tired. And, my husband was still being evil at this time. And while all this was happening, I never let my kids know what was happening. I just kept it all in. But they didn't know that I was in my room on my bed fighting for my life. Something was already in my ears telling me, just kill yourself. You're not going to be able to sleep, so just kill yourself. And I couldn't. I couldn't. They couldn't be without their mother. So I fought it. And then I would crave drugs out of nowhere, and I would say, no, I can't get on drugs. I can't get lost. But if it wasn't for them, I don't know what would have happened. But I fought it. So if you're going through the same symptoms I just told you that I was feeling, fight. So anyways, this started at the beginning of July. And we're already in August. And like I said, I didn't want to get on medication because I didn't want to be dependent on medication. And I refused. And I was always on Google looking for stuff. I was always looking for something. I even looked up sleep apnea and whatever you could think of, whatever sleeping disorder you could think of, I was always trying to see if I had that or what I could do, and nothing came up. There was testimonies on there that people had, and they had struggled with insomnia for many years, and I refused. I have to find something. And at this point, I was even scared of the rain. And at this time, it would rain all the time. And I would get so scared. Even whenever it would start to get dark, I would get so scared. And I didn't know what was going on. And I was trying to get over the fact that my marriage was falling apart. Okay, I'm not the only one that gets a divorce. Why was I beating myself up so much? So I just had to accept that just marriage wasn't going to be my life anymore, that I just had to move on. And so on August 16th, I finally just gave in. I'm like, I need to go see a doctor. One of my mom's friends had been going through depression and she couldn't sleep either, so she recommended that I go see her doctor. She had lost her grandson, so she encouraged me to go see her doctor to get on medication. So I accepted it. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'm like, because I just have to move on. I have to be strong enough to raise my kids, because I was doing this all by myself anyway. He was never here. So I finally just gave in and I went to go see the doctor, and she got me in that same day. And I told her, put me on the lowest dose that you can get me on. I don't want to be dependent on medication. I'm like, I'm just doing this until this passes. And she told me, a lot of women come to me because they're going through divorces, and they even have to get on medication. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just get me whatever you need to give me, but I just need to get better for my kids. That's all I'm worried about right now. So that same day, she prescribed me the medication. I went to go get it. And I got home, I cooked dinner, and then I got a message from a friend. And she told me that she was sorry that what I was going through. And I'm like, nobody really knew what was going on. Just my in-laws and my mom and my brother just knew what was going on. So when she sent me the message and told me, I'm sorry what you're going through, I'm here if you need to talk, and I'm like, well, thank you, but how do you know what I'm going through? So she said, oh, I know. She started describing this woman, that she was a hood rat, that my husband and this woman deserve each other. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, you know who he's talking to? I'm like, because I've been asking him this whole time, is there somebody else? And all he keeps saying, like, he just keeps denying it. So then I tell her, you know who this is? And she says, yeah. So then I just felt relief. I know it's weird, but I felt relief. I'm like, oh, it wasn't me this whole time. Like, it made sense. Everything that he was doing just made sense, because I kept asking him and he would deny it. He would deny it. And so this girl was telling everybody at her work that she was going to stop working because her boyfriend had asked her to stop working, that he was going to move her into his house, and all these lies. So then whenever he would text me, he would put it in a way that would confuse me. So this time I already knew what was going on. So then I practically just blew him off. So then he comes home and I confront him about it. And I already had took the medication that the doctor had given me that same day that I went to the doctor. I had been fighting not to go to the doctor, and then I finally went. That same day, I took the medication, and this medication is supposed to make you sleepy. And it did nothing. It just made the anxiety worse. And my state of mind just was out. It was so weird. So then I tell him, okay, well, what are you doing here? And he was being rude, like he had been. And I'm like, well, I know what you're up to. And the blood from his face just came, like it drained out of his face, and he turned pale. I showed him the picture of the proof that I had, and things got ugly. Things got really ugly, and the medication just made my state even worse. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I was not there. And so I told him things happened, so I am asking him, like, why are you acting this way? Why can't I sleep? And I'm sitting there asking him. He was just being so evil. And well, I didn't sleep this night because I had the insomnia. So then I asked him, sorry, I'm trying to remember how it happened. It's been a while. So then I asked him, I'm laying on him. Like we were there talking like nothing had happened. So he starts telling me something's behind you, like the devil's behind you. And had like this blank stare in his eyes. And then I got like a light bulb turned on, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, did you like ask the devil or something to like to kill me, or that you wanted me dead or something? He said no. And right then and there, I looked up symptoms of black magic. So one of the top things that were on there was insomnia. So I knew. I just had a feeling that that's what it was. And I'm like, well, how do I find out? I didn't know nothing about this stuff. I'm like, how do I find out? So I start Googling, and it would show me like websites of these different fortune tellers and psychics and stuff like that. So then I start looking up the witchcraft, what it was, what is black magic. There was websites that it would show me, and I didn't want to go through them because I'm like, what if they're just a scam? You know, what if they just want to take my money? And I'm like, I just didn't trust them. Either way, they're not good. But at the time, I had no clue about it. No, I didn't know nothing about it. So then I start Googling more. What are the symptoms of black magic? And it would say everything that I was feeling was on the list. So that was on a Wednesday. Tuesday, I went to the doctor. Wednesday, I started looking up the black magic and stuff like that. And because my husband had like this dark stare in his eyes, and I mean, at the time I didn't know what it was. So then I leave my house because, you know, he had somebody else. I'm not gonna stick around. So then I leave, and that same night I felt something crawling up my leg, and I just knew something was wrong. And I didn't know nothing about this stuff. And so this was on Wednesday. Thursday morning, I had an appointment with the attorney. And I kept, you know, from July until August, I kept scheduling it, and then I would cancel it because things would seem like they were getting better, so then I would cancel it, and then things would go back to how they were, like it was bad. So then I would schedule it and cancel it, schedule it, and so I just left it. So that Thursday, I had just finally left it. So then that morning, I get ready to go to the attorney's office, and at this point, I couldn't even learn how to cook. My state of mind was just gone at this point. It was a constant battle because I wasn't sleeping, the anxiety, the fear in my stomach. Like what I wanted was just to be there for my kids. So now we're on Thursday when I go see the attorney. And before I went, my mom had told me, come to my work so that you can get something to eat. Because at this point, I couldn't eat. Something was oppressed on me. None of the food just tasted good. Every time I would eat, like it would be in knots. And this particular day, while I was sitting there trying to finish my food, you know, and my kids were with me, so I had to put up like a phase that I was strong and that I was going to be okay and that I was going to be there for them and take care of them and be everything that they needed me to be. I was fighting it. It was a constant battle. And so finally, I was eating it, the sandwich, and I couldn't eat it. And while I was there concentrating on the food, I could see the people's demons like hovering all over, like over me. And I knew something was wrong. I'm like, something's wrong. I need to know. So I already knew about, the research that I did about the witchcraft and what the symptoms were. And I was like, who can I go to? Where do I go? Who can tell me if somebody has put something on me? And at this time, I'm like, it's probably my sister-in-law. That was just my thought. It has to be my sister-in-law. We had gotten into it, and I don't know why it was her. And I wasn't even worried about my husband having somebody else. Like, it happens. Just gotta move on. So then I leave from my mom's work, and my best friend, I take the kids to my best friend. So on my way to go to the attorney's office, it was like a far drive, like a 20-minute drive. And I couldn't remember I was like, how am I gonna get there? Because I would zone in and out. Anywhere I would just zone in and out. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have to follow the GPS, and I'll make it happen. So I go, and I'm there at the attorney's office. I was there for like 2.5 hours, and he told me I can do this. I'm gonna get you this, and I'm like, okay. But while I was there, I was zoning in and out, and I knew something else was wrong. I'm like, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And my husband was trying to look for me. The 2 days already had passed since the truth had come out, and he was already trying to explain himself, and I would not let him. I wasn't interested. I didn't want to know anything. So then I'm driving back from the attorney's office, and I'm like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. But then I knew in the back of my mind, like, something else is wrong, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. I'm like, I don't know. So then the only place I knew that did this kind of stuff, that I thought maybe did this stuff, was one that I had passed by and that I had seen. So then I passed by there a few times until I finally decided to go in, because I knew it was wrong. Just growing up, I just knew that these kind of places were wrong, and that you just don't go in there. And I knew that, so I never dared to even do anything like that. But I didn't have nowhere else to turn to, because mind you that while all this was going on in my house, we had people coming to my house to do deliverances. And on one of the deliverances, there was this little girl there that after they had done their prayer and their deliverance, this little girl was crying like she had seen a ghost or a scary movie, is what I got from it. And they asked her, what did you see? And she said there was a dark evil thing behind me. And they were asking, well, what was it? And she said, no, the man, not that man. There was like something evil behind me, and I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought that this kind of thing happens all the time, and they went to go pray, so everything's gonna be okay. And so a priest comes to my house, and he blesses the house, and all he kept telling me was like, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay, you're beautiful, you shouldn't be sad. And no, that's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear something was in my house, but I mean, at the time, I didn't even think that was even happening. So I finally went to the curandera. Well, the last time that I had gone, the priest that came to bless my house was a different priest from this other priest. So the main priest I had heard that he had done exorcisms, and I had heard that he had got demons out of people's houses and stuff like that, but he never once came to my house. So I think like the week before I went to the curandera, I had went with him to go ask him a question, and he was busy or something, or maybe he just got tired of hearing me, I don't know, but he's like, you know what, no, just go. So he couldn't do nothing for me. So then I went to the curandera, and the lady that worked in the front, or the receptionist, or whoever that girl is, I asked her if black magic existed, and she told me yes. And I told her that I had been feeling insomnia and anxiety and the panic attacks, and nothing was helping. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, can she tell me? And she's like, yeah. And that girl saw the desperation in my face, so she said, you know what, let me talk to her, and I'll give you a call back. And if she has an opening, if she can get you in, then, you know, then I'll call you. So I went to my brother's house, because that's where I was staying. And she called me and she said, yeah, go ahead and come in. She's like, but you're not going to come to this place. You're going to go to another place. So there I'm just like, what am I doing? This is wrong. I knew it was wrong. But I had to find out, because nobody was making it better. Nobody was doing anything for me. And when I was doing my research, when I would look up insomnia and panic attacks and anxiety, like, it never talked about Jesus. Ever. There was never a prayer. There was never anything. Anything. It was always medication, take this, or this medication, and never talked about Jesus, ever. So I didn't know what else to do. And I told my mom, I'm like, I'm going to go see this curandera, because I don't know what's going on. I was like, and if she can't tell me what's wrong with me, then just take me to the hospital, because I can't sleep and I'm tired. My soul is so tired. So then the time came, and my husband happens to pull up. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why are you looking for me? And, you know, and I was so mad, because I needed to go see this curandera. So then, and while I was there at my mom's house, I remember just looking in the kitchen like a blank stare, and I was crazy. Like, if this lady can't tell me what's happening, then I'm just gonna go to the hospital, and they're gonna send me to Big Spring. And, you know, because I already had been thinking about this since it started. Like, I was going crazy. So then I go see the curandera, and while I'm sitting there, she takes a glance at my mom, and she's like, after I talk to you, I need to talk to your mom. She's like, because I see something on her or whatever. So then I go in to her room, and she starts, and I didn't know what to expect this curandera. I didn't know that they do the card readings or anything like that. I knew nothing. So then she starts doing her cards, and she starts describing this dark-skinned girl. And she asked me, did your husband have an affair with the dark-skinned girl? And I told her, I don't know. I don't know if he has or not. And she said, well, but she's not the problem. She said, I saw that she really wanted him, but he wasn't interested. I'm like, I have no clue. And she's talking and I say nothing. I'm just sitting there silent, and I'm just like shrugging my shoulders, or like, I didn't say nothing. Then she says, okay, but she's not the problem. And then she starts saying something about this girl, that she wanted my life, that she wanted my husband, that she wanted everything that I had, and that she had a dark soul, and everything that was on her mind was money. Money, 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 money. So I'm like, okay, well, I already know that there's somebody else. I'm like, but why do I feel like what I'm feeling? And then she said, well, I see that she's done an entierro. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then she's like, she did witchcraft on you. And I'm like, what? I'm like, who does that? She's like, yeah, she paid a lot of money. And I'm, at this point, I'm just like trying to process it. Like, people really do witchcraft. People really pay money to try to get their way. Like, still trying to process it. So I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah. She's like, she wants your life. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And when she told me that, I'm just like, you know what? It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Because none of the stuff that I was taking helped. Nothing. And then the symptoms that I was feeling, and then my husband, the way he was acting, and it made sense. So then she told me that she could do a cleanse on me, and well, there I go to go get a cleanse. And that none of her cleanses helped, by the way. They didn't help. And I was so lost after this. And I gave this Jezebel, I call her Jezebel because I believe that she has the Jezebel tendencies, because I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, no way. She wouldn't do this. Nobody would go to that extreme to do something like this. And when I confronted her about it, and I tried to talk to her and come to her woman to woman, she basically defended the relationship. And instead of messaging me, she messaged my sister-in-law, explained to her why this had happened, instead of coming to me. So it just, I knew that it had to be that, and that it was her. Because another type of woman would have been like, oh yes, I'm sorry, would have apologized, or, I don't know, like just trying to manipulate the situation even more. And just trying to justify what they had done. And that she had the right because my husband didn't want me, and he was thinking about getting a divorce with me for her. But she knows what she did. She knows what she did. And I know that you're probably like, well, all guys are like that. Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure they're like that. But I knew that once she told me that this was witchcraft or whatever, like everything made sense. And he started to fight for his family. Once he knew that I was gone, he started to fight for his family, and he was fighting. And throughout this whole time, that I could tell that he would try to look for me, but he just didn't know how. He didn't know how to look for me, and I was in my pride, so I was not going to beg him. And plus, I was trying to figure out what was going on with me, with the insomnia, with everything. So this was in 2016. and 2017, a year already had passed. And one of her cousins came, she messaged me, and she told me that she had been close to her, and she had seen everything that had happened, and everything that they did, and all the plans that they were trying to make together, that she was trying to move into my house, and she was already starting to decorate my house. She had was begging him that he needed to leave me. She would plead and cry that he needed to leave me, that she was the best for him. And this Jezebel still tried to weave her way into my life. And it's so sad. So anyways, the reason I am making this video is because to let you know that witchcraft does exist. Brujeria does exist. There is people that do these kind of things. And it's so sad. Because not only it's this going to be a curse, and I hope she repents. I really do. You can't fight you can't fight witchcraft with witchcraft. The devil can't fight against himself. The only thing that's going to work is Jesus. And once we were back and forth with the priest and with the bruja and this and that, nothing was helping. They came and did another deliverance after I had gone to the witch. And one of the ladies had a vision that somebody had put a vial in my yard with the liquid and some names on it. So they did a deliverance with that. And after that, I questioned my religious faith, because whenever I went to the witch, I had seen this my whole life, where they do the limpias or the cleanses with the eggs, and she did exactly that. And the weird thing about whenever I went to go see that witch that day, when she told me that their witchcraft was going on, somebody did witchcraft on me, she told me to keep Jesus in my life. And I had no knowledge of Jesus. Like, I had no relationship. I had a relationship with God, but not with Jesus. Does that make sense? And Jesus is the only way. Demons flee at the name of Jesus. So after this happened, I went and talked to the priest after they came and did the deliverance. When the lady saw the vision of the vial, I went and talked to her. I went and talked to him, and he asked me why I had gone to the witch, and I told him, well, like, the last time that I came, you shushed me away, so I didn't know what to do. And he said, well, don't you, I could have done the same thing. I'm like, I tried to come talk to you, and you just shushed me away, so I didn't know what else to do. And so they were just back and forth. The priest was doing exactly what the curandera had did. And I was lost. I didn't know what to do. I contemplated going back to the witch. I didn't know what to do. So I just decided to let everything go. And I started my research with Jesus. And it didn't go away like that. it didn't go away. I could sit here and tell you like you go to a curandera and no. Do you know what a cleanse is? A cleanse is whenever you go to a curandera and they basically, like if you're going with a certain symptom and then you get the cleanse, they basically just put another demon on you or remove that one and put, if it's not just 2 demons, it's just going to be 1 and it's still going to be bad. Things are going to get bad. So stay away from the curanderas. Jesus is your only way. So I started my research on Jesus. I would put why these things happen. Does witchcraft exist? And things did get better. Things did get better. So if you're going through this right now, I urge you to look for a deliverance video of witchcraft. And don't sit there and wonder who did it. Because that's just going to make you want to take it into your own hands. And no, you let God deal with it. Because I thought about that so many times. So many times. Because everything that I went through just for money. Just for money? No. Like, you made me go through that just so that you could get money, and my kids almost lost their mother because you wanted money. No. So Jesus is real. You have to. There's no easy way out from witchcraft, or if you have a lack of relationship with Jesus, then you need to look for him. I urge you to really look for him. He's the only way. He's the only way. And do your research. Do your research on Jesus. Deliverance videos of witchcraft. If you're experiencing the anxiety, the insomnia, there's deliverance videos. And I urge you to really look for him. He saved my life. He saved my life, and I owe everything to him. He restored my marriage. He opened my eyes. Because I used to be Catholic, and I'm not a Catholic anymore. I'm strictly just a Christian. A Christian because I follow Jesus Christ, and he's my only religion. And look for the truth. He's the truth. And I am so grateful that he came and saved my life. He left the 99 to find me. And that's the only way. There's no magic spell. There's no cleanse. There's nothing else but Jesus. Everybody worships everything else but Jesus. And he's your only way. So start your relationship with him today, right now. And especially with what we're going through, something's happening in the spirit. Something is happening. Jesus is coming soon. And I'm making this video for him to recruit y'all to follow Jesus. He's the only way. He's the only way. And I am so grateful for him. I thank him every day that this happened. And the devil can't come touch you unless he gets permission from God. That's just how it works. Job chapter 1. So I urge you to, if you're going through what I just told you that I'm going through, I urge you to get deliverance and give yourself to Jesus.